So, I guess you get me twice today. How lucky are we all? Um, I was inside playing a game I came across just the other day called Chronos: The New Dawn, and I just felt compelled to turn the camera on and talk a little bit about it because this game is made by Bloober Team first and foremost, and those are the guys who did the Silent Hill 2 remake, which I admittedly have yet to play, and it is fantastic. It's like I'm about 5-6 hours in, and it's this weird. I say weird. It's a fantastic blend of modern Resident Evil with like the aesthetic of Silent Hill 2, and it really reminds me of like what the Evil Within wanted to be, because the Evil Within is a series that I do enjoy, but I don't think is the best. It didn't know what it wanted to be, so to speak, and it's a shame. Kind of funny that Shinji Mikami took all the credit for that. That's another video in and of itself. But he tried to do his own original thing, and it was not good. Anywho, Chronos: The New Dawn is a post-apocalyptic game taking place in Poland, where you deal with these creatures that merge together. They're humanoid, infected, all that, and they turn into these creatures, and the bodies do not disappear. It's very similar to like the original Resident Evil, where the Resident Evil remake rather, where you had to like use kerosene to burn the corpses, but those don't respawn on their own usually. What you have to do, like there were a couple of like scripted sequences earlier on that I've played where you'll see bodies laying on the ground and then just one of them stands up and attacks you. But if you've defeated an enemy, they do not come back. Instead, those things just sit there as potential threats that then if you allow other roaming enemies to merge with it, then they become stronger and more potent and more difficult to take down. So it really does add some tension to the game. Now, graphics wise, it runs on Unreal Engine 5, so take that as you will. It's not, because that engine is horribly optimized. It's being utilized by a lot of developers because of ease of use and cost effective measures. But in terms of performance, like raw performance, you're not going to be running it at like high or ultra. I have a 4080 on my main rig, and I do not like how I am forced to use like AI upscaling or any of these new technologies, when I believe that with optimization you could easily run these games at on native hardware. Like, you shouldn't have to rely on all these things. Again, another topic for another video, but UE5 runs on that. So if you're a gamer already, which I don't know why you're watching this if you're not, but you already know what to expect from a Unreal Engine title in this day and age. And so it runs on that, and it looks good enough for what it is. Looks like an Unreal Engine game, which, difficult to say. Any game in this day and age truly looks terrible. Most games look beautiful, even pixel art games, like they just look incredible. Don't know why I decided to record this in the sun, because I'm about to start sweating. It's about 100 degrees out, but hey, I chose to mix up the vibe from my last video, so here we are, and now I suffer. But getting on to the next thing, combat. So I already talked about the enemies that you defeat, how they are just potential threats that could bolster the enemies that are around you. You do get some melee strikes that I was going to say attacks and then said strikes, so it came out of strikes. But you do get melee attacks that are good for breaking boxes, like in the environment and stuff, for items. But they don't usually stagger enemies. The same mechanic that you use for burning the corpses, which is like you get torch fuel, and then you can burn open environment, like some pieces of the environment that have biomass growing all over it, you can use that to eliminate downed corpses that could prevent other enemies from merging and becoming stronger. Or you can even use that if they're in the midst of an attack, you can use that to stun them. You get multiple weapons. So far I only have the handgun and shotgun variant, but you can do two types of firing. Your regular shot, which does not do a lot, honestly, and I always recommend doing a charge shot. So each weapon takes a certain length of time to charge. It's variable. It's not one for one per weapon, but I always recommend doing a charge shot, which then puts you on a had an ant on me, which then puts you on a sort of suspenseful situation where you have to, manage that shot and move around and stay on target. It's very intense, very suspenseful, and it keeps you on your toes. There are certain situations where you're going to have to run instead of fight. And if you do stay and fight, though, you'll be rewarded potentially with environmental, like crafting items and stuff like that. And you find those all around the environment as well. So combat is a delicate dance between knowing when to fight, knowing when to run, your typical horror game. And it charge shots. Utilize your ammo very well because this game is punishing with the amount of ammo you have. I was talking to my friends recently, and the only game that really comes close to this for me is Resident Evil Revelations 2. That is the only game I've ever played in modern Resident Evil where I was like, final shot in the chamber, use that to take down the boss. Like, that game was finely tuned with how you use your ammo in that game. And this game is also right up there with that. It's like you might have a surplus here. That means you're going to run into a very strong enemy or a trap or a horde or something along those lines, and you will be tested. And even then, you can only take about 2 or 3 hits before you go down. So when it comes to exploration, your typical survival horror tropes are there. You're going to have locked doors, you're going to have keys, you're going to have to find a specific item on one end of the map that unlocks a door at the other end of the map. You're going to have to go through a scripted sequence to get bolt cutters. You're going to have to do, this, that, the third. But it's all very entertaining, and it all is a very well encapsulated package. And the story is actually quite fascinating because there's a time travel element there. I'm not going to spoil any of it by any means. This is a very early, very crude sort of review of the game, and I would highly recommend it to anyone that is of the survival horror fan. If you're an aficionado, or if you're just interested in it, it's probably one of the best Resident Evil-like games I've ever played. Again, a great blend. Reminds me of Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and it's on sale right now, like 40% off on Steam. So if you're a PC user, go out and get it. I can't speak to any other storefront, but yeah, that is Chronos: The New Dawn, and I couldn't recommend it enough.